Hi everyone, and we are back with another video. This is the second episode of the PlayStation 2 collection, so I want to get through this pretty quickly, so let's just start it with Catwoman for the PS2. Yeah, this is a low quality video game based on the, well, I wouldn't say hit, based on the one of the worst movies of all time, Catwoman, with Halle Berry. The game is basically kind of like the movie, so you can play as Catwoman, and it's a beat 'em up type of game. It's weird how they localized it, but the game itself is in English, of course. It's one of those mid 2000s sort of superhero game where you had the movie and you just had to, and they just had to release something based on that movie, and EA made this Catwoman game. Well, I don't have a lot of things to say about it. I got it for really cheap, so I bought it because, it's funny. The next one is Cell Damage Overdrive. This is another PS2 title, which is kind of like this wacky, cartoony kart racer. At this time, I think kart racers were kind of going down a little bit in popularity. I think on the N64 era with Crash Team Racing and Mario Kart 64. That was when they were really big for a while. And then the next time they were big, basically it was like Double Dash. There were some like questionable quality games on the PS2. And then there is this one, which is, it's a pretty solid title. There are like weapons and 4-player multiplayer, 36 tracks. So it's not that bad. Or maybe 13, I don't know. It's not that bad. It has a unique art style, which is pretty fun. And this is one of those games that is just, sadly forgotten, but this is a solid title. And this is Chaos Legion by Capcom. This is one of those strangely, again, forgotten games on this system. It's an RPG, like a hack and slash sort of action RPG game. I tried it, it's pretty solid. It's not that good. I think it wouldn't really be on the same level as something from Square Enix, but Chaos Legion, I think it's sadly forgotten, and it's actually a pretty solid title. It has a nice manual, and yeah, the game is, I think it's pretty good and sadly forgotten. This is probably one of the most generic looking video games I have in my collection. It's City Crisis, which is, as you can see, it's basically like a helicopter or chopper rescue game. You have different missions on like this big 3D city environment. It was released by Take-Two, so this is actually a quality game. There is a lot of content as far as I know, but although also this is like, I bought this because it was an interesting game that's, you're not really something like generic. It's something that's pretty interesting usually. Code of the Samurai is the next one, which is, it says Midas. We already talked about the low quality companies, and Midas is one of them. But this game actually was a Japanese game, a Japanese exclusive game by, if I can zoom in, by Sega in 2005. And then Midas basically just bought the license probably, and they decided to release it in the West, mainly in Europe. I'm not sure if they ever released it in North America. This is a pretty cool like fighting game. It's a bit of a beat 'em up if you can see it. It's like sword fighting and lots of other stuff. It has like really cool art on the manual and on the disc. And this is one of those times where Midas actually released something that is at least quality. It's not like the best game ever, but since it failed to come to the West, I guess the license was pretty cheap and they decided to publish Sega's game. Something that is actually a pretty cool game, and it's sad that it's never really been re-released ever. This is Cold Fear for the PS2. I think it also has an Xbox version, I'm not 100% sure. And it's also on PC. So I highly recommend this game. This is Ubisoft making basically a Resident Evil game. As you can see, it has a lot of rain, but it's basically you are on this big ship, and zombies and other terrible monsters are on board, and you have to basically, find key cards, go to different areas of the ship. So the whole game is situated on a huge like cargo ship, I guess you would call that. And then as you are fighting the so basically the funnest thing about this, or the most unique thing, is that it's basically on the sea, and there is like this huge like sea simulation during the game. So the whole ship shifts throughout the game, and you have to react to that as well. So some stuff might be coming towards you, or it is harder to get to some areas, or you cannot even get to some areas because the ship is rocking on the water in the storm. So it's pretty cool, and I'm a bit surprised that physics-based games like this are not really a thing anymore, because I think this would really deserve a remake or something. I think it's fair to say that this is one of the all-time best racing game, or maybe even rallying game. This is Colin McRae Rally 3 by Codemasters, and this is just a legendary. Well, first of all, this is a legendary race driver, Colin McRae, who was a WRC world champion. And then, yeah, like the physics stuff is really cool in the game. It's like officially licensed with the cars, at least. Not really, like, it's not a WRC um, licensed game, but there is a ton of stuff in there, a lot of tracks. The physics are amazing in the game, and it's all in all, it's a very high quality title by Codemasters. And they went on to making the Dirt games, some other Colin McRae games as well, and they are now part of EA. But what I want to show you is this Codemasters Showcase 2002-2003. So this is pretty cool. There's a bunch of different titles from Codemasters, like Toka Race Driver, which is their other which used to be their other big racing franchise, and there is Prisoner of War, which is I don't know, it's a movie adaptation. Colin McRae 3, of course, LMA Manager, which I will talk about later. There was the whole club football series, which is actually, it has like a really crazy history. It used to they went in another direction. Like FIFA has thousands and thousands of teams, and these games have officially licensed teams, and there is also a bunch of different game modes and whatnot. But you always have to use the team that you are buying from. So you can get the Ajax version or the Hamburg or Chelsea version, and you have to play with those teams. So if you're a fan of, I don't know, like Leeds United, you can have like a whole Leeds career with all the history and all the background. And this is really authentic because they had like basically the entire teams officially licensed, which is now it seems funny because you buy FIFA and you have all this content. But back in the day, they were basically like making a game per year. I think it lasted only like 2 or 3 seasons at this time. But yeah, club football was crazy. Snooker Championship, there is Star Trek Elite Force, which is considered like a classic PC game, not really good on the PS2. There is MTV Music Generator, that is a crazy one. You can make your own music. I don't know how you save it, but it's okay. And then, they also had the bestsellers on the PS1. So at this time, in 2002-3, the PS1 was really still relevant. So they were re-releasing a bunch of their games on like these budget titles with them. So, like Music 2000, and there was also another like Colin McRae Rally games, Toka, of course. And they also made Micromaniacs and Snooker, and I think Codemasters was a pretty big, not just developer, but also a publisher at the time. Sadly, it's not the case anymore. Well, what do you know? It's Cool Shot for the PS2. This is a snooker or billiards, or you would call it like pool game. And yeah, it is made by our friends at Phoenix Games. So it's probably pretty low quality, although I don't know how you can make freaking snooker really high quality. So it's on a CD, so it's a really budget title. And I also really like the fact that Phoenix had these like black and white printing on their games, so it's they really went with like really low quality stuff. And this is actually 2003. So at this time, the PS2 was going strong, and even shovelware was coming to the system. So Crash Bandicoot was huge on the PS1. I already talked about that, but they were huge on the PlayStation 2 as well, published by Sierra, and then it's like Konami published it, and Universal Interactive. I have no idea, but basically they sold the franchise. This is the Wrath of Cortex, Crash of the Titans, and Twinsanity. So I think they sold the franchise. So Universal had the franchise. They were making the game with Naughty Dog, and it was published by Sony. Then Sony picked up Naughty Dog, so they bought the company. But Universal kept the title, and this game was actually made by Traveler's Tale. So they made like I don't know, Sonic R, but they are more famous for their Lego games. And this is fine. This is a pretty good one. And then Universal Interactive, they didn't really want to make games anymore, so they sold Spyro and Crash to Sierra. And Sierra was a dying company by that time. So they tried to save the company, they tried to save some stuff, and they made some other Crash games. This is the one where Crash has like weird tattoos and he looks just crazy. This is also a really late game, it's 2007. So I think this one also had a 360 version, but weirdly enough, the PlayStation 3 never got any Crash Bandicoot games. And then there is Twinsanity, which is I think the middle title. Yeah, it's 2004, and it also something that has like weird stuff, and it's also made by Traveler's Tale, I think. Yeah, it was made by Radical Entertainment. Oh, I know the company, but I have no idea right now what they made. I probably had some more Radical Entertainment games. And then when Sierra folded back in the day, I don't know why I say Sierra like this weirdly, but when Sierra folded, actually they sold all of their assets and whatnot, and then Activision picked the Crash games up. And then Activision didn't really do with Crash Bandicoot for like a decade, and then they made the remakes, and then they now belong to Microsoft. It's a whole mess, and now again they are not doing anything with Crash Bandicoot or Spyro for that matter, which is a shame because they are really good games, and I think even these would deserve a second chance in form of a remaster. One of my favorite games on the PlayStation 2 is actually an old Sega game. It's Crazy Taxi, which was published by Acclaim, which is weird. And it also has this like really stupid PlayStation 2 Platinum case, which is like double the PlayStation 2, I guess. But yeah, Crazy Taxi is amazing. This is the original arcade port of the game. I think it's the second port after the Dreamcast version, but of course the Dreamcast was a big fat failure. But this is a really good version. It has the original songs from Offspring and Bad Religion. This is like a really early PlayStation 2 game. I think it's 2001 release. But yeah, this is just a fantastic arcade game. It has the yeah music, which is always so iconic. And sadly, in the newer releases, like the ones on the PC and the 360 version, and even the other newer releases on other platforms, they just remove the music. And I think it's like 30% of why this game is amazing is probably the music, plus it's just arcadey racing fun. And it's pretty sad that they don't really make games like this anymore, except last year Sega announced that they are going to make a new Crazy Taxi game, so I'm really excited about that. So this one looks like another, well, really low quality game. This is actually Curious George. And weirdly enough, it was made by not just Namco, but it's like Namco Bandai. It's just a kids platformer game as far as I know. I haven't tried it. It's probably not as good as something like Donkey Kong or something. But I picked it up because it looked fun, looked interesting. It didn't have the manual, sadly. But yeah, this is like a Curious George cartoony platformer game. So the next one is Defender for All Mankind. So Midway, back in like 2002, decided that they really need to get their old franchise back and make a new Defender game. It's basically another type of spaceship shooter from like the 80s. It was a huge arcade hit back in the day, so they decided to make a PS2 title out of it. And you know, it's probably pretty cool. At this time, these spaceship shooters were pretty good. There is like a off DVD. I don't know. They have like no, they don't have an extra DVD in this. No, they probably have some like DVD extras through the game. And it's an advertisement for Mortal Kombat, which was, you know, back in the day published by and made by Midway. And then they moved on and sold a bunch of their franchises, and, you know, Midway doesn't exist anymore. I think all of their franchises, or at least most of them, went to Warner Brothers, and that's exactly where like Mortal Kombat is right now. So yeah, Defender. Something that I always found really cool are the Destroy All Humans games. These are like pretty edgy shooters where you go to Earth and basically kill the human population, and it was made by Pandemic, who are a legendary studio. They got bought out by EA, and then EA closed them, and then THQ even folded, so THQ doesn't exist anymore except Nordic games. They like bought out and they renamed themselves THQ Nordic, and these games even have remakes now, which is, you know, pretty cool. They are well beloved, although I think they are not the blockbuster type of game. It's pretty niche. You know, you're an alien, you go kill and disintegrate humans, and, you know, you destroy cows. And then the second game is even crazier. Like, you go around the world and destroy certain landmarks and whatnot. So yeah, this, oh, ugh. Okay, my copy is a bit dirty. But yeah, Destroy All Humans is a pretty cool franchise. Next up is Deus Ex, which is another legendary franchise. They used to be made by Iron Storm. They are the one who made System Shock, and this is basically one of the this and System Shock are the basically the dad and mom of the game genre that's called immersive simulators. So these are pretty hard games, and you have to sneak around, and you have to be careful about weapon choice, and it's like infiltrating, and it is just like a really immersive gaming experience. I haven't played this. I did play the PlayStation 3 game Deus Ex Human Revolution, and then I played Mankind Divided. I love the franchise, but I just haven't really got around to play the OG one, which is the legendary original game. And it also has like a... This is an Eidos catalog. Okay, if we did another catalog there, let's do this one. There is Eden, or Project Eden. I have this one. Thunderhawk, that's like... I don't even know this game. Time Splitters, of course, that's a classic. I have that one. Blood Omen, so like the Soul Reaver games were also on this one. Jet Ski and AOE, EOE, Soul Reaver, Commandos. So yeah, back in the day, it was a big deal. And yeah, of course, who can forget Who Wants to Be the Millionaire? I put it in the letter D because it's actually Disney/Pixar Toy Story 3. This is a cool game. It's like a 3D platformer, although the best version of this game is actually the PlayStation 3/Xbox games, because it has the what do you call it, like the sandbox mode in the game. I think it's called something else there. But yeah, this is a really, really late PlayStation 2 game. It's from 2010. So at that time, PlayStation 3 was basically on the middle of its life cycle. And it's interesting that they chose to really release it on the PlayStation 2, but, you know, it was worth it for them. Downtown Run is a racing game by none other than Ubisoft with a bunch of licensed cars and some cities, and it's kinda like Burnout. So there are like power-ups and a bunch of different cars and 26 different venues like Rome, Lisbon, Paris. I don't know anything about this game, but it looks cool. I like racing games, and it's fun that, Ubisoft used to make racing games. Our good friends at Blast made another like licensed game, but it's not even licensed because this is not based on the movie Dr. Dolittle. It's like, Blast, and it's this weird isometric where you view where the animals talk and you have to fix them, and you can see like different remedies and I don't know. It looks like a really, really awful game. And if we check the disc, it's like, there. It has nothing to do with anything. Although it is licensed by Fox, so maybe it is like officially licensed? I have no idea. And last but not least, there are two Dragon Ball Budokai games that I have randomly. I don't really care about Dragon Ball. I know some stuff about it. This is the more traditional one with the fighting and enemies and whatnot. And then the second one, that's what people hate. I think this is more like a strategy game probably, or like an RPG. I have no idea. But this is the bad one that usually they don't put out in the collections. And then that's it. This is episode 2. We got through a bunch of games. We're on the letter D already. And we are going to have some more games next time. From these ones, it's not easy to recommend anything. But I think Cold Fear is a standout in terms of the quality. And it's like a pretty cool horror game. There is also the Crash games that are good. Crazy Taxi is always fantastic if you want some arcade racing game. And then that's it. Thanks for watching, and subscribe if you want to. If you got to the end of this video, make sure you leave a like or a comment if you want to. And then, thanks for watching, and until next time.